Chaos Cultists. Boy, have they had an odd life in the early editions before they finally became a mainstay in 6th edition. But that's spoilers. Indeed, it's time to see how the cultists of the Chaos Gods have fared throughout 40k's life. So let's start with 2nd edition, and the weirdness begins just right here of them. So, they're not part of the main Chaos force. Marines and demons were, but cultists? They were only able to be taken as support section as they had to be allied in, because they were part of another list, the Lost and the Damned. Yep, the cultists were sitting alongside beastmen in their own little the area codex, with Demonworld just being off to the side of them. So let's see how they fared there. Chaos Cultistic Covens, with 4 points a model, came in units of 5 to 20, movement 4, weapon skill 2, elite skill 2, strength 3, toughness 3, runes 1, initiative 3, attacks 1, leadership 5. Equipment-wise, they had an axe, club or knife base. They could have any assault weapon from the list, so chain axes for 2 points, chain swords for 2, another axe or sword for 1, a double-handed weapon for 1 point, which gave them +2 strength, but they always lose combat on a tie. Pistol-wise, auto for 1, bolt for 2, las for 3, a stub gun for 1, and hand flamers for 7. They could also instead have a basic weapon, auto gun for 1, bolt gun for 3, las gun for 2, or shotgun for 2. One cultist can also have a heavy weapon, auto cannon for 25, heavy bolter for 15, las cannon for 45, missile launcher with frag and crack missiles for 45, a multi-melter for 65, a heavy plasma gun for 40, or a heavy stubber for 10 points. So rule-wise, well, they actually have the frenzied rule, which, yeah, just looking at them adds up a bit, doesn't it? So yeah, stat-wise, basically what a human civilian who had just gone sod it joining Chaos would have at the time, really. And they're a nice cheap unit, and you can get a lot of them, especially for the time. So, 3rd edition. First Chaos Codex, you got cultists? Nope, they weren't in it. But don't worry, they ended up in the chapter approved, and they got published in a book of the Articles from 2002, so we can look at them there. So they're now a troop's choice of Chaos Space Marines, 3 points a model, and units of 10 to 50. Stat-wise, they've actually gained 2 leadership from 2nd edition. Equipment? Well, base they've got a close combat weapon still, and then any model can have a las pistol or auto pistol for 1 point, or a las gun, auto gun, or shotgun for 1 point. Also, for every 10 cultists, you can have a plasma gun for 6 points, melter gun for 6 points, flamer for 2, heavy bolter for 6, grenade launcher for 8, autocannon for 6, or a heavy stubber for 4. Also, one model can be made a demigod for 4 points, gaining +1 attack, and allowed up to 40 points of equipment, marks of chaos, and gifts from the Chaos Space Marine Codex Armory. So yeah, no new models due to being a white dwarf, but also this was the time when GameShop was kind of embracing the whole just convert your own ones for Chaos, as they showed a few examples of that, and when the Eye of Terror Codex came out, well, they literally just had, this is how you do mutants, this is how you do renegades, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, which, you know, fair enough. As for the unit itself, 50 cultist horde could be a right pain to actually deal with, and throwing that amount of cultists at something, it'll probably do something. So then we move on to the 2nd 3rd edition codex, as yes, Chaos had 2 of them. And cultists, great news, you're back in the codex! But you're only an option for the Alpha Legion. Yep, they were made a unit specific to them, which is, well, something, but if you want them running around with, say, your Death Guard or something, not happening. So, they're now units of 10 to 20, 6 points a model, weapon skill 3, lit skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, runes 1, initiative 3, attacks 1, leadership 7, and 6+ save. Hey, they finally get one, and a nice stat upgrade. Equipment-wise, well, close combat weapon, but also either a las pistol or auto pistol for 3 as well. But that's it weapon-wise. They didn't actually have any other weapon options at this point. However, they could have frag grenades for 1 point, crack grenades for 2, and melter bombs for 2. They can also have the Mark of Chaos Undivided for 1 point a model, and if they do, they can have a Chaos Icon for 3. Nice. Their champion costs 5 points, +1 attack and leadership, and they're allowed a whopping 10 points of weapons from the armory! That's better than nothing, I suppose. Now, along with all that, they get to choose a role. All the roles came with Infiltrate and something else. So if you made them Scouts, they gain move through cover, Assassins, Furious Charge, and Saboteurs, Siege Specialists. Yeah, they definitely took a massive hit equipment-wise, and limited to Alpha Legion, but the fact they can take crack grenades and melter bombs were fairly cheap with Infiltrate? They're really good if you can manage to get into combat a vehicle at taking them out. But okay, let's move on to 4th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex. What you got? Absolutely nothing. Yeah, this is when the demon split happened as well, so suffice to say, cultists not having models since 2nd and everything else going on, yeah, they got banished for the moment. But then, 6th edition would come along, and finally they got a proper plastic kit. So, they are now a troop choice, 50 points base for 9 and a champion, extras will cost you 4 points, with you able to take 25 more. 35 is a rather odd number, but okay. Stat rise, nothing's actually changed for the cultist or champion from the last outing. Equipment wise, however, auto pistol and close combat weapon base, auto gun for 1 point, and then for every 10 cultists, one can have a heavy stubber or flamer for 5 points. The champion can also have a shotgun for 2 points. Marks of Chaos are finally around with them. The Mark of Khorne being 2 points for rage and counter-attack. Nurgle also 2 points for +1 toughness. Tzeentch 1 point for 6+ invul save, and Slaanesh 1 point for +1 initiative. Now, the champion also, being a champion of Chaos, has the champion of Chaos rule, and must always accept and issue challenges. And in the rare case they do kill a character, as it could happen, they get to roll in the Chaos Boon table. The fact this can result in them becoming a Demon Prince, while it is unlikely and they're more likely to get a stat upgrade, when it does happen, that is also one heck of an upgrade. Though they could also become a Chaos Spawn. Which really, for a Chaos Cultist, is also really an upgrade stat rise. So yes, they're here, finally becoming a proper troop choice. And yeah, they fit the role as a cheap unit, as while not a massive threat, the sheer amount of them you could take is something your opponent has to keep in mind. Or you could just take a couple of cheap ones as sacrifice objective fodder. So, 7th edition came around, and nothing for them. Off to 8th edition we go! So, 9 cultists a champion again base, but now able to take 30 more, which makes a lot more sense. They're coming in at 4 points a model, movement 6, weapon skill 4+, weapon skill 4+, strength 3, toughness 3, runes 1, attack 1, leadership 5, and 6+ save. Well, back to low leadership if they do, but hey, the champion still has +1 attack and leadership at least. So, base equipment. If you've got autoguns, or auto pistol and brutal assault weapons. These just have them attack with their normal strength 3, but they do get +1 attack when using them. Also, for every 10 cultists, one can have a heavy stubber for 4 points, or a flamer for 9 points. The champion, meanwhile, could also take an auto pistol or brutal assault weapon, but also a shotgun. Now, what about special rules? Honestly, they don't have any. They have keywords like the Mark of Chaos and Legion bonuses and such, but that's really it, and honestly, a lot of that doesn't really matter, as, yes, you could have a Mark of Chaos, which could help with the stratagems. Bit of a shame, they basically all say Heretic Astartes, and guess what cultists aren't? But yeah, they're a still fine cheap unit. And yeah, same wall they had in 6, just streamlined. Now, 9th edition, and hey, it's their current kit. However, they're now down to squads of 10 to 20 again, and 5 points a model. No stat changes though. So, the autoguns are gone. Indeed, they now come with an auto pistol and brutal assault weapon base, but they have got flying crack grenades again. Now, instead of the autogun, they can have the cultist firearm instead, which is range 24, rapid fire, strength 3, damage 1. So it's basically an autogun with a new name. Also, one of them can have a flamer for 5 points, a heavy stubber for 5 points, and a new option, the cultist grenade launcher for 5 points. This thing has a 24-inch range, is an assault weapon, strength 6, EP -1, damage 3. Also, if you have 15 or more in a unit, another cultist can take one of these weapons. The champion, meanwhile, can have a bolt pistol now. And again, that's kind of it. The autogun change might seem a little weird, but this was something they were doing to make all the weapons in each faction be a little more unique. But I will say the grenade launcher was a nice add-on and some variety. But yeah, back to 20-man squads again. The Horde days are gone. And now we come to 10th, and how they are currently sitting. So you can get 50 points for 10 of them, or 100 points for 20. Their movement 6, toughness 3, 6 plus save, runes 1, leadership 7 plus, OC 1. They got the auto pistol and brutal assault weapon again, which is attacks 2, weapon skill 4, strength 3, damage 1, so it's not really changed. And the champion can take a bolt pistol. And that's it for equipment. Yeah, no, everything else is gone. And honestly, other than the faction army role, they can sticky objectives by making any they touch stay under your control if they move away until your opponent sends something to take control of it. And yeah, that is it for 10th edition. Yeah, no war gear anymore, which is a real shame, but again, sadly, not too uncommon in 10th edition. And yeah, they really have just become objective hoggers for the most part. Cheap though. And yeah, that is the Chaos Cultists. Games Workshop seemed somewhat hesitant to have them as a main unit with Chaos Space Marines at the start, but by the 6th edition came around to finally decide on let just be a core part, which is nice. But yeah, for most of the times, they've just been a massive horde or objective hoggers for the most part. Maybe in the future we'll get to see some more variety again.